Welcome to the Live Wildly podcast, a space where we explore how to live our wildest expressions while nourishing our hearts. Here, we cover all things motherhood, spirituality, health, wellness, and more. I'm your host, Olivia Ashley, a mama, intuitive, and seeker of a joyful, inspired life. Let's dare to live wildly. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Live Wildly podcast. I am really currently enjoying feeling into the space between. We are deep in the middle of winter, and I am feeling the pull to slow down, rest, have some deep introspection. And this comes at a perfect time in the sense that I am just over halfway through my maternity leave, and I just feel in this liminal space where there's nothing to do, but there's also so much I want to do. And yet all I feel in my body is the pull to slow down, rest, enjoy this time, don't overdo it. And it really is this winter portal. I am grateful to have this opportunity to be on this maternity leave at this time where I get to just go into myself and explore the depths of doing nothing and having nothing on my calendar unless I want to put something there, such as hanging out with a friend or making an appointment. But in reality, I typically have maybe 1 to 2 things a week that I plan out, and the rest of it is me living day to day, waking up. What do I want to do? Some mornings I wake up and I stretch. Other mornings I wake up and I make breakfast for the family. Other mornings I just wake up and hang out, get dressed, enjoy my coffee, walk around the house. It's really simple, and I'm incredibly grateful and also not wanting to think about when this will come to an end. I really enjoy work. I like having something that I get up and I do and have a routine and a space to do it, because right now I'm just in the family mode, full family, taking care of everything, the household. And while I also love that, I think work can bring a balance. I definitely thrived the most when I was part-time working, where I could have these beautiful mornings with my family and with the kids and go explore. And then I would have a couple hours of work and then I'd be off. And it was great. And so really allowing myself to just continue in this space of leave where I just don't worry. I don't want to think about work yet. I don't want to think about where it's going to take me and what my life will be once that happens again, because it'll be here soon enough. And just step into this quiet winter portal. I am loving it deeply. And with this, I am feeling a pull to take care of my body on a level that I have not felt in a while. And so with that, some of the things that I am doing are checking in every day, asking my heart, what message is there for me? What do I need to focus on today? 9 times out of 10, I hear rest or keep going, as in, keep doing what you're doing, keep moving towards what you're inspired to do. This podcast being a really big part of that. And the other piece is I've set intentions to get messages throughout my day from my guides, from my highest self. And one of the fun ways that this has been coming up is I will be walking through the neighborhood, because walks have been huge for me. They have always been. This has been probably a decade-long love of walking. And at first it was really weird, and now I absolutely love it. And so on my walks recently, I've been noticing license plates that have ask, the word ask in them. And so it reminds me to ask myself, what message is there for me? What does my heart want to share with me? What is something I need to hear or know today in this moment? And so walks have been super supportive in trying to get some sun on my body, even though it's cold, and the fresh air has been really great. And then getting these little reminders have been the cherry on top to these walks. And then I can listen and just hear and go, okay, I checked in. I'm centered. I'm here. And oftentimes I'm going onto a walk because I'm feeling super uncentered and super ungrounded, and I know I need to leave the house. I'm definitely someone who needs to shift their energy, shift their space continuously. Like I am okay resting for a little while, but then I need to get up and I need to do something or be somewhere else. And so walks have been huge, and those little reminders have been awesome. So I totally recommend you setting the intention to also check in each day with just how does my body feel? How does my heart feel? And ask for the signs. I mean, they will come and they are there. You just need to, one, ask, and two, listen. And something else that's been really beneficial for me has been around water and the water I'm consuming, the water I am bathing in, the water that is in our space through humidifiers, through baths, through the water we drink. And currently we're in the middle of a snowstorm. And so we are getting water all around us and it's just blanketing us and it feels really good and peaceful and calm. I love snowstorms and the way that it just silences everything and it pulls you into yourself. I am in bliss by it. And something we've done recently with our water, and this was partly from my husband, Steven, was he asked for a restructuring device to use for our water. And we got this little, it looks like a little glass wine bottle, but inside of it has all these cool things. I really don't actually understand what exactly is in it, but essentially it's trying to mimic natural spring water. So water that's run down rocks, through the soil, over waterfalls, and maintains its natural structure. The water that we're drinking has been filtered and processed and has chemicals added to it. So not only do we make sure we always filter our water, right now we use a Berkey. We've also used distiller, this awesome distiller, which was great. You just have to make sure you're putting your minerals back in. And even with a Berkey, the water from our tap, even going through any type of filter, you need to remineralize your water. So we are using now this cool restructuring device to help give it life again. And I also try to infuse it with loving intentions and gratitude and ask it to be its highest, best version of itself, its most optimal version before we drink it. And so we got this device from Natural Action Technologies. I will definitely link it if you're interested. And then we also add a couple drops of mineral drops, and I will link that as well, the one that we are using, because I've really noticed a difference with that. I drink more, I feel more hydrated, and especially as a nursing mom. I mean, I'm completely feeding my baby everything. I am his lifeline. And so I feel like I need to be optimizing my water so he gets the best milk and water through me. And then with baths, I have just been soaking in so much Epsom salts, Himalayan salts, putting some lavender. I've been called to add lavender in as it's soothing and calming, and also pine. I've really been drawn to the trees and adding a drop or two of that, and eucalyptus, refreshing and grounding and opening of your sinuses. So baths, just really taking care of that. We do use a filter on our shower, but we have not added a filter onto where our bath faucet comes. If anyone has any really good ideas or has any good tips of what to use or how we can upgrade that. At some point, we would love to do a full water filtration system, but we do not have the budget for that at the moment. So we're trying to do little hacks and different ways to at least get a better level of water coming into our space and what we're bathing in. So I'm totally all ears about that. And lastly, with water, I end my night with a warm tea. That is something we've been doing since, gosh, back in college, I believe, was the first time. It was Steven who gave me this tea with milk, and I was so confused because I'd only ever had tea with honey and sugar, but my parents never put milk in. But my husband grew up actually over in England. Sidebar there, that's a whole nother story. But so he was really into tea and milk, and he changed the game for me. And so that's something that we do as a ritual every night. We have some type of tea. Right now, I'm loving and drinking mother's milk. And otherwise, we buy bulk teas from natural grocers, or you can get them anywhere, but we want to make sure they're organic and well sourced. And so we'll get chamomile and lemon balm and lavender and nettle, and we'll mix all of those up and just make our own bulk nighttime tea, because I really feel it's so important to just have something that sets you up for a good night's sleep. For us, that's a nice warm cup of tea, and it's hydrating. And then I have my humidifier running every night, and I am so grateful for that, because in Colorado it is dry. Even with it running, I still get all congested, and it's not enough, but it's better than what it would be. So I bring this up because I want you also to check in with yourself and see, how can you support your body right now? What is coming up for you? And knowing that you really have the answers within, you just need to ask. So maybe you set the intention to get the reminders to ask yourself, to ask your body, and then follow through with whatever that is. Right now, I think we're all feeling and can check in with water and our physical body and take care of ourselves. It's a time to rest, to slow down, to come within and understand what are some habits that are not working, what are some things that I really need to add in, and start to do them, because why not? You're missing out if you're not going for it. And, it really is a simple change that you can make. I think it's just important right now, being in the middle of the winter, if you're in the northern hemisphere, to take care of yourself, to step into this winter portal and check in and process and let yourself slow down, let yourself take rest. I know we don't all have the opportunity to have a leave like I am on, but we can still make space and find time to take care of ourselves, because that is the most important thing. There is nothing without health. Truly, that is a huge belief of mine. We want to be our biggest, best selves, and health is probably the most important piece of that. So take care of yourselves out there, and I hope you're all doing well and can bring something forward that is nurturing and nourishing for your body. And that brings me to our topic. And this is something that I'm really excited to share, because it's how I live wildly in my own way. It's a tool that I found a couple years ago that really just changed my life and set me on a new path. And I'm really excited to share a little bit about my experience with it, how I use it as a tool, and then give you a little surprise at the end that I hope is supportive. So today's topic is going to be about the Akashic Records. And you may or may not have heard about this. I only heard about it back in 2019. So 3 years ago was the first time. I might have heard it before, but it never stuck. And I have been reading the Akashic Records since late 2019. It's been a really fun journey. And if you've never heard of the Akashic Records, essentially the Akashic Records are an energetic imprint and recording of all that has been and is. It is in a quantum field, so time and space as we know it doesn't exist. It records everything, both on like individual lives, our collective body, earth, animals, all beings, universe, source. There's multiple levels of records, and you can tap into this with your intuitive abilities. And for the most part, the Akashic Records have been kept very sacred. Only very few seers and sages would have access to these because it was very important to keep this power in the hands of people who would honor it and take care of it and listen and use it well. And I'm sure that that was not always the case, but there used to be a lot of steps you would have to go through to gain access and permission from the lords, the masters, the guides of the records. But recently, I would say probably 30 years or more, the records have allowed everyone truly to start to access it. And by everyone, I mean people who are open enough to their intuitive abilities and or looking for this to gain greater clarity, to be able to reach out and touch this space. And so, how I use it and see it is I see it as a really neutral, loving, light-filled energy. And if this is really out there for you, back to the basics, we are all energetic bodies. You can think of frequencies, how frequencies, our heart gives off an electromagnetic pulse. We have EMFs all throughout our house. Everything is giving off some type of life force energy. You can think of radio waves. And so everything is connecting and everything is giving off some type of bandwidth. And really, when you're connecting to the Akashic Records, is you're taking your frequency and your energy and you're expanding and reaching out to touch into the Akashic Records energy and frequency and accessing the messages and the information that is held within that space. And so how I see it, I'm sure everyone kind of sees it differently. I can see it in my mind's eye. Pictures and guides come forth. I can hear through my clairaudience words and phrases, and then they bring messages forward, and then I have to decipher them. I have to use my own reference points to say, what does this feel? What am I getting with this? And oftentimes I get something that seems really out there, this visual picture that I then just start to run with, and I ask questions. And the most important piece with working with the Akashic Records is really focusing on the present moment. It's not something to necessarily future cast. I think with any intuitive work, future casting can be a little helpful to an extent, but I don't necessarily like to go there because timelines and pathways are always shifting based on the choices we make, based on the collective choices. And so being able to just focus on your past, on your present, and working with your highest best self is to me the most important piece with this and understanding this, because really the greatest gift the records give us is allowing to get information from the past, from the present, from possible future timelines, from other beings, from our guides, from our own records, collective records, I mean, on, to help us understand our life's path, our soul's purpose, emotional blocks, past life, ancestral workings and understandings, and use all this to gain better clarity for ourselves. So we can come into this space and say, I'm really struggling with anger. I'm really struggling with this, or I've had a hard time my whole life with this one thing. I'm going to go ask the records, why is that? What do I need to know about that? And then see what comes forward. So truly there's very few bounds with the records, except that you can only really focus on what's related to you. So you are a part of the collective. You can access collective records, source records. You are connected to all that, but you don't necessarily have permission to go into other individuals' records unless they're your children or someone has expressed permission to you. So you're focusing on you. That's the most exciting piece, right? I think it really is this like individual Bible that you get to look at and say, oh, this is made for me in a way. Like, this is my story. I can see, I can have help. And it's just a really exciting, fun space to get to work with. And so, yeah, that is in a nutshell some of what the Akashic Records is and what they can do. And I want to share how I was drawn towards the Akashic Records because this story is really fun to me. This is a story that I think shows the magic of life when you're seeking help or clarity and you're not quite sure where that's going to come, but you put that out there that you would like some help, you pray for help, and the universe shows up. And so in 2019, I had just turned 27. My birthday's in July. So that beginning of the year was filled with a lot of intuitive reawakenings and openings around my abilities to channel both past loved ones and also galactic beings and interdimensional beings. I really connected to the Pleiadians and was getting energetic upgrades and insight and messages from them, as well as some other star beings and star galaxies, which was and is very fun. And I'm sure I will go into that further. But back then, it was a lot and it was confusing. I felt a bit lost of why is this happening to me? What is going on? And then mixed with this pure curiosity of this is mind blowing. Life is so much different than I ever thought it to be. I had always questioned a lot as a kid and looked to the stars and just be like, wow, there's so much more out here. I know there is. I trusted that, but I felt very isolated and disconnected. So as I had kids with each child, and in 2019, I had just had my second child, Forrest, it just was opening new channels and my energy was shifting. And so I was seeking help. I remember just saying, this is a lot. I don't fully understand this. Please, please send the people, the resources, a mentor, a guide to me to help me ground and make sense of this because I know I'm not going crazy. I'm fully here. I know this is just a new gift and ability, and it's expanding my consciousness and my belief system. So please, universe, help bring those who can affirm, understand, guide, and support me in this path. And so right before my 27th birthday, I was talking to Steven, my husband, saying, I don't really know what I want for my birthday. I don't know. Like, I'm going to leave it up to you. You figure it out. I don't want anything too crazy. But yeah, you'll find it. And he's like, okay, that sounds good to me. And I didn't think more about it. And he is a waiter. He's a server right now for his job, which has been awesome. It's how we get to have our kids at home and have flexibility in our days. And one day, a couple came in and they were talking about this reading that the woman had, which was just mind blowing and how much it had changed her life. And she was so excited about it. And my husband just kept hearing little snippets of this conversation and he was getting super intrigued. So he goes over and he goes, hey, I'm hearing that you got some type of reading. This sounds really interesting. And I think my wife might like something like this. Can you tell me more about it? And so they gave him the details and wrote down the name and then just pointed out like, oh, her studio is actually right across the street, like kitty corner from my husband's current work. Like she has an office there, maybe she'll be there, or like, here's her name, like look her up. So he's like, great, I'm going to go check it out after work. And so he gets off work and he walks over there and he knocks on the door and this woman opens it super confused, like, hello, who are you? Do you have an appointment that I missed? Like, what are you doing here? I'm very confused. And he goes, oh, someone told me about you. I'd like to buy a gift certificate for my wife. And she's like, okay, give me a moment, like close the door, and like went and got this and was like, okay, here you go. Like, here's this for this reading, like have her email me and we'll set it up. And they exchanged the money for this gift certificate. And my husband didn't really think too much about it, but she also stated, like, I can't believe you caught me here. That's why I'm so confused. Like, thank you so much for buying this reading, but I'm never really here. I only come in when I have scheduled appointments, and you caught me right after someone had just left. Like, I was literally about to walk out the door. So this is really intriguing. Like, who is this reading going to be for? Her ears perked up too, of like, this is just kismet in a way. And so he then gives it to me, and I was like, okay, awesome. Akashic record reading. What is this? I hadn't really heard about it. I Googled it and really not much came up. It was just like channeling and energy, and you can learn really anything and be your best true self. And I'm like, cool, this sounds perfect. I've never had an intuitive reading, but I'm being led here. Great. And so I go, and her name's Olivia Lundberg. She's coming on the podcast in a couple weeks, probably. And it just was funny that we both are named Olivia. We both were really surprised at that time, like, oh, this is fun. And I was 7 months postpartum. I had just turned 27. So I booked it right after my 27th birthday and just had the socks blown off me. I mean, she was just an incredibly warm, sensitive, amazing, lighthearted human being and gave me a lot of tools and a lot of insight to what was happening. And it just was so helpful. And I asked her in this reading, I've never heard of these Akashic records, but this reading has been amazing. I'm able to tap into stuff. Do you think I could learn this myself? Like, how did you learn this? And she checked in with records, and they pretty much just gave her the green light to say to me of, yes, this is something you can definitely learn on your own, and you have the green light to do it, and go for it. Just go figure it out. And so I left that reading just in awe and so happy and curious because I got everything that I had wanted answered. And I walked away from that just so impressed with her as well, of who she was and what she was doing and how in her body and her gift she was. And I remember saying, I want to be like her, whether she mentors me or I find someone like her. I am so amazed. And she actually, a couple years later, I did my Reiki Master certificate with her, and she's become a close friend. And I just am so excited that that's where life led us. But we didn't talk for a couple years, probably 2 years, until the Reiki certificate landed in my lap as something I should do. But yeah, I mean, it's been so fun to see looking back and now where we are, how that progressed. But that is how I started with the Akashic Records. I got that green light and I went home and I searched for books. That's where I was led to look. And I read A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records by Melissa Fike or Fick. I'm not quite sure how you say her last name. It's Feick. Again, I'll put this in the show notes. And this book was a great intro and a great handbook, a guide to help you know what are the records, what are the bounds of it, and gave you tools to then access it yourself. She really set you up to be supported. And that was awesome. Truly, this is the only book I've read. I've done very little other research on the Akashic Records, and I just started. I was like, let's go there. Let's reach this energy, see what it's like. And so since that point, I have been exploring and just seeing like what this beautiful boundless energy is that is the records. I did a lot of energy clearing. I've seen some past life information come forward, and just I was able to get clarity and also feel supported, because a lot of times when you're going through these intuitive reawakenings or you're having these consciousness gifts come online and you're expanding what your belief system is through this type of stuff. If you're interested in this, it may come through dreams, it can come through, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, all the clairs. I think we all have this ability. That is first and foremost, the most important thing I can say is everyone can tap into different intuitive abilities. It's just, do you want to? And in what ways? We are all have our own unique gifts, ones that are more strong, ones that become developed, because we're all here for different paths, right? But no matter what, we all have an intuitive sense. We all have a sixth sense, period. Like that is well known, researched, trust it. And so I'm excited to see that this is becoming more mainstream, but we have a long way to go. And I hope that I can help others start to realize the bounds of opportunities. Like there are no bounds. We can unbound. We need to unbound all of what we thought is real in reality, because there's so much more that wants to connect to us and help us and support us in reality. And I think for a lot of us, we are not ready to see that in the physical. And so being able to connect and channel and get information, again, always by setting great intentions and making sure that you are really aware of what you are accessing and putting your energy out there to, it is magical and miraculous and just normal. I think I want to normalize this because I am not someone who is super like meditating 24/7 and I'm wearing the mala beads. Like I totally have them. Yes, and I love them and they are important. There's meditations for them. But you know like the hippy dippy tree hugging, like that sentiment that's been fed to us, or the psychics that are crazy and wax and just want to steal your money and future tell and I mean, it's just, this is not reality anymore. We are hardworking mothers, fathers, friends. Like we are normal human beings, but we also have this opportunity to utilize the sixth sense. That should be a normal thing. That should be something that we admire and talk about. And, back to my podcast about creativity, it's something that helps with everything. And if we're going to create a better world and a healthier, more peaceful place, is we need to start listening and we need to start accepting the help that is out there through our sixth sense, through whether it's Akashic Records or channeling or how remote viewing or past life regressions or hypnotherapy. There's a lot of different ways that you can tackle and start to expand into this. Just go with what you're most interested in. But for me, that's been the Akashic Records. And this is truly like, I think what has brought me to this podcast and to this sentiment of live wildly. Let's live our most wild selves and accept that, whatever that looks like for each of us. And for me, one of those pieces of this is the Akashic Records. And you can tell I just get so excited about it because it's been so transformational for me. And I've seen how it can transform others' lives. So from 2019, getting that first reading and then reading that book, I've been working with it and experimenting with it. And I had a period, it was probably late 2020 into early 2021 that I started telling all my friends about it because I was so like, this is magical. This is changing my life. Can I give you a reading? Can I gift you this? And everyone said yes. So I got to do readings for all of my friends and everyone just affirmed, wow, that was spot on. That's what I needed to hear. Oh, I already knew that, but I wasn't seeing it in that light. And they really put a mirror up to my face and affirmed that, this is real. I'm really tapping in to something. And it made them feel really excited and help them with where they were at when they got those readings. I also opened up readings on my website to take clients and help others. And it's not something I've done a lot of right now. I have done a good handful, but I did stop this last year because being pregnant and going through everything I did with my father, with his sickness and losing him, it was too much. My body, I couldn't access that energy very well. And it did not feel right to open up a channel and get others' energies in my space. And so it's something that I am opening back up and wanting to do really at a probably small level because it is so sacred and special to me. And I only have so much time in my days to make it happen. So I'm just going to put a plug there for that if you're interested, I do single sessions and I also have a 3-pack packages to really dig in and get you into your records to help you understand what's going on. I highly recommend this if you're pregnant, if you're postpartum, if you've gone through a big life change, if you're feeling like you're at the precipice and needing clarity, or if you're just like, this feels really exciting. Let's get a reading and just see what's up, especially around the new year, the end of year, right? Anytime is a great time. But I'd love to help you access those and get better clarity, understand past lives. I will say everyone's reading is different, and so you get what you need in that moment, but it's a really beautiful opportunity to learn more about yourself and give you some tools that might be really beneficial. I have just had a really wonderful experience with the Akashic Records, and it's something that I'm excited to get to continue to access for my children, for my friends. Again, it's something that I feel is really sacred and exciting. And it's something I can gift to help others. And that's what I really love to do is gifting these to my friends and my loved ones because why not, right? It's something that I can access. And if they're open to it and they would like it, then I always offer because that is how I can gift them the love and the energy that I'm receiving through it. Okay, so that's enough about what the Akashic Record is and what my experience with it has been. What I want to do to end this podcast is open up the Akashic Records and see what they have to say about the Live Wildly collective. What messages and what information would most help all of you out there listening right now or whenever you listen to this? Because again, time and space does not exist. Whatever we receive when we receive it is a benefit, whether you listen to this right when it comes out or when it's 3 years from now. I'm going to go into the records and I'm going to just see what comes forward and relay the information, anything I see, the feelings that I get, and share that with all of you. So I'm going to take a pause to get in, and then I will come back and start here in a moment. Okay, the records are now open. I immediately see a horse, and I associate horse with running, freedom, adventure. That we as a group, myself and the listeners of this podcast, are taking new adventures. We are opening the door to finding what freedom means to us and accepting what that path might look like for us. I see possible moves. I see like our house being very important, whether you move or you're just rerouting into where you already are, that identifying and going forward with your home, your base, setting your roots and that foundation and what that looks like day to day is of extreme importance. And I see us like cleaning, power washing this home. So doing some cleansing work, doing clearing, getting out all the crud that no longer works with us. Can we say Marie Kondo? And removing the clutter, removing the dirt, removing the baggage, removing anything that no longer is aligned with us. That feels extremely important, no matter where you are, to really take a good look at what is in your life, both physical items, both energetically, how are rooms feeling, and this is all around the home and within yourself. I also see you being a part of that home, looking at how do you take care of yourself? What are you putting inside of yourself? Like clearing out your pantry, making sure that what you are putting into your home and what goes into your house, because that is the biggest expression of your own self in the outer realm, is of high importance. That getting a space that you love, that when you leave, you come home and you can fully cleanse. I see you as you walk through the threshold of the door, like this bright, beautiful white light, or like even like a saran wrap that you can walk through, just like pulls everything off of you that is not yours, that is, you don't need to take into your home, because your home is your sanctuary. Your home is your sacred space, and that is how we should be treating it. That is how we should decide when we bring something new in. Is that really adding to the sacredness of this beautiful sanctuary that we've created? They're showing me colors, being very aware of the colors that we identify with, of the colors that we bring into our space, that we really we need to utilize the rainbow. yes, at times certain shades and certain colors will be a benefit because those are working on you on both an energetic and a physical level that changes your frequency, changes and brings new energy in and different energy in. But being aware that we don't want to always just wear the same thing, that it is important to bring in new colors as well, to change it up, to really read the full rainbow and start to identify, oh, this color makes me feel safe. This color makes me feel excited and warm. This color makes me feel introspective and intuitive. And using those colors throughout our day with what we wear, with the things we buy, with how we paint our walls. Again, this is all around our home space, even our car, anywhere that is yours. I can see like your work cubicle, really making sure that each of these spaces and how you're using them is coming forward and that you're choosing the right colors to be most supportive at this time. They're showing me that you can like tune into your heart, look at like a color wheel and say, what is a color that I need most in this space, will be most supportive to have in this space at this moment, and then just where your eye lands. They are showing you can also close your eyes and be moving your finger around in the colors and notice when that slight sense shifts and makes you stop, kind of like reading an oracle deck. You'll pick up on that energy of where to stop and then see what comes forward. They're also showing me understanding like what your soul's color is can be very beneficial and supportive, that you can buy a favorite sweater, you can buy a little candle or something special in that color. And they're reminding me of this book that my Reiki teacher, Olivia, who I brought up in this podcast, shared with me. It was like a birthday color book that you could look up your birthday and it would share a color and a little bit about what that color meant and who you were, kind of like in astrology. Look at your birthday and then here's what you get. So I will try to find that book and link it as well. But understanding your color, and maybe you already know that color, they're saying don't overthink it, but it might also be helpful to find a tool where you can look it up and say, oh, okay, this is my color, and then bring that into your space. They're showing me us drinking a warm beverage and just sipping and delighting in it. And I think that what they're wanting to share is, what are things and habits that you can do in your life that bring you into stillness, into your heart space? When I imagine drinking a warm beverage and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm all comfortable and I'm warm and I'm safe and I'm joyful, like it just brings me full joy, full into my heart. Life stills, the clock kind of stops, and I just, I settle into myself. And so they're asking us, what is that thing for you? For me, they're showing me that is like a warm beverage. And I think for a lot of you, that probably will resonate. But if that isn't the case, what is that thing that drops you in, makes time slow, is super simplistic? And how can you bring that into your life? Each day or a couple times a week, we need to find things that nourish us. Nourishment feels like the most biggest, most special word and thing that we can do for ourselves at this moment. In what ways aren't you nourishing yourself? Find the thing that nourishes you. And also, if you're unsure, ask. Ask, show me what is something that will nourish me. Bring into my life something that will bring true nourishment into my body. And this really feels like on a physical level, because when we start with this physical level, since we are here in this physical plane, it will ripple out and help support us on emotional, mental, spiritual level as well. That feels very important. And the other word I'm hearing is devotion. Can we devote time to nourish, to find sacred space, to enjoy and devote time and attention to something that brings us joy, to something that brings us a sense of peace and happiness and repetition. I'm seeing that like habits are what's habitual. How can we turn things into little rituals? That feels very important, more than just the mundane acts of Oh, let me fill my water and drink it. Oh, I need to feed myself. Oh, I got to do the laundry and clean my clothes. Can we start to shift and look at our life as a devotion of our truest expression? That when we go to drink that water, we realize how much had to go into getting this cup of water to us and how sacred this water is. And can we hold that in our hands and say, thank you? This water is going to nourish me, and I'm so grateful. I send love to this water and drink it. Or when we're cleaning our clothes, have gratitude for again, the water and the washer, however we clean our clothes, for getting to remove the dirt, to remove the residue, the energy that we no longer need. And we thank that and we say, oh, we're so grateful. So both devotion, ritual, gratitude, because all these little mundane things that we do in our day to day are actually really big, incredible acts. And we need to recognize that for what it is. And when we start to bring that awareness and that flip of perspective into our lives, life becomes a lot more beautiful. We start to see beauty in the smallest of things, in the gratitude for having a paved sidewalk, in gratitude for having a car that we can drive or a bicycle that we can ride, or for shoes that we put on our feet. Like, we forget how incredible and miraculous this was. At some point, most of this world, those were things that were extreme luxuries. And now they just seem like simplistic givens that we have in our life. But in reality, we need to recognize what they are, and that is truly beautiful, creative gifts that have been given to us. And can we share gratitude to that? And can we thank our food? And can we thank the farmers who grew the food and the soil that made that food? And we don't have to know exactly where it came from, but we give an overall thank you and a prayer to that. Reconnecting to the earth, to the grid, to the power of ourselves, to the crystalline nature of our bones, to the crystalline nature of the earth, taking time to connect, to ground in the simplest of ways, just putting your bare feet on the ground, to getting a grounding mat for under your desk while you work, to just recognizing that we are electrical beings and this earth is electrical, and we have so much onslaught of other EMFs that are coming at us all the time. And so we need to take the time to reconnect to the earth. Many of us, with our stressful days, with running around, we start to escape. Our soul literally pulls out the back of ourselves, up and out. Like we go out into outer space and like we're watching because we're so overwhelmed, we're so disconnected. It's like, how do we even feel in this body? And so recognizing that when we're feeling distraught or anxious or stressed or confused, take a moment, pull your soul back in through the back of your body, ground to bring your awareness to your breath. Take deep, long breaths, bring your awareness down into your feet and your feet down into the earth, and just anchor. Simple as that. Really simple, just visualization and getting outside and connecting with our Mama Earth and the grid that she gives this life, these pulsations, is very important to recognize and know and understand and do more of. That will really shift your health, I see, shift how you feel in your day to day. All of that feels very important. I'm also hearing the word inspiration, that if you're listening to this, it's time to look at what is inspiring you, to figure out what that is and go for it, to do it, to bring it into your life, because now is the moment. You don't need to wait. You don't need to worry. You don't need to figure out, oh, well, how am I really going to do that? You just need to do it. Stop worrying about it. Stop stressing if it's money, if it's whatever. And it's not to say get crazy and frivolous and sign up for all these things. No, like simplistically, what inspires you right now? What is the step you can take towards it? Because we are here to really live inspired, full lives, and we don't need to wait any longer. Time is very quickly moving, and we don't want to miss out. Not to say you would, you will always do it in your own timing, but this is a push to start. To, if you're having that idea, if you're having that thought, or you're going back and forth and unsure, I'm giving you the yes, whatever that is, because change can happen very rapidly. And if we're not actually moving towards the things that make us happy and like bring stillness and peace and excitement and fulfillment, and I guess I want to remove the word excitement, ease, peace, love, grounding into our lives, then we often will get the opposite, because the opposite will come to start to shake us. Our grounds will start to be shifted and changed to try to get you to that level of your path of, here's your like most easeful path. I'm trying to get you there, but you're not listening, or you're not wanting to make that change, or you're stuck in that rut of these hard feelings, or feeling like you don't know what to do. And so they're giving us this opportunity to shift perspective and start to move our lives into this other realm of bliss, essentially, in a way. And not to say that's always what we're going to have, but if we can start to accept and make the changes that we are feeling called to make. That's what I'm hearing. Like, you are feeling a calling. You are feeling like something needs to shift or come forward, or a change needs to happen. And they're asking you to listen to that, to move forward with that, because they want you to avoid the boulder getting thrown at you. They want you to avoid the car crash that could happen, to reset, to make you stop, to pause and say, oh, that was awful. Why didn't I really need to make this shift and change. The last thing they want to share is, I'm seeing the color yellow and the sun. Remember the beauty of the sun. Remember the beauty of the warmth, of the life that it brings, of the life that we have within us. We are deeply connected to this earth. We are nature. We are not a part of nature. We are nature. The sun brings life to the plants. The sun brings life to us. The sun connects us in a deep way. And there's a lot of new energy that the sun is kicking off towards us. And good energy, energy that's going to help us on, I'm hearing, a cellular level. And they're not going to show me exactly what this is, but in a way that is supportive of shifting, that we are going through a shift point as a planet, as a star system, like a solar system, and the sun is what is creating those shifts. And so finding time to be in the sun, to honor the sun, to just have gratitude again for the sun, for the life that it brings, for the life that it can bring to us, and work with the sun. I feel like she's asking us to say hello, to ask, what messages does the sun have for us? How do we want to be in communion with our sun? Feels very beneficial and important, and bringing the color yellow into our space in reflection of the sun can be super enlightening. So with that, I will leave us there. I hope that you found benefit of that reading, that was helpful and supportive in some way. Again, take it or leave it. Take what resonates, leave the rest. This is your life. You get to choose what you want and listen to what you want to, but that is what the records had for us today. And yes, again, if you would like to learn more about the records or want a reading, check out my website. It'll be linked below. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening. I'm so grateful for you. I hope you can enjoy this winter portal yourself and find some nourishment and inspiration and support, however that looks like for you. I'm wishing you all the best. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Live Wildly podcast.